Everyone, my name is Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. You can call me whatever you want. I'm doing this full time. If you want to support me, CiottiFPV.com has a million ways you can do it. This is a Patreon stream. If you'd like to get notifications when these daily, every day, Patreon streams go up, you got to give me $3 of your dollars every single month. It's just the way it is, man. It's 10 cents a day. So if a 2-hour live stream is not worth 10 cents, then, you know. Over on CiottiFPV.com, the very top link is to the Patreon page. There's a bunch of other cool stuff going on there. An Etsy store with some really fun stickers. A Teespring store with some t-shirts and hoodies and mugs. Fiverr page where I can work for you, help you tune, help you build. Help you, when I say build, I mean like select the right parts for your builds, help you fly a little bit better. And a bunch of affiliate links too. If you ever find yourself doing an order on Amazon, ohmygod.com, FPV Crate, Get FPV, and a bunch of other spots, if you click one of my affiliate links before you do that order, I'll get 1 to 6% of the order for free. Alexander says, you're lagging. Check your connections and or uploads, downloads. I do have some dropped frames. I don't have any uploads or downloads though. Like I don't have any kind of stuff. What it probably is there's a huge storm here in Atlanta. Well, there's a huge storm in the southeast U.S. So yeah, it's probably that. Dropped frames it's not dropping any more frames though. It's sitting at 120. I mean, there's nothing I can do, so I'll just keep going, and whatever happens, happens. So yeah, I'm working on a couple of the glides here to get them set up for more like cinema type shit. So we're gonna talk about that as I'm doing some of the work on them. And yeah, fire away with any questions you guys have in the chat so far. We got CMYKFPV first. He says, how's your Thursday going? Pretty good, man. I was just hanging out with P. Richard Scott. You guys know him from the chat. That's Patrick. He's one of the local guys here in Atlanta. And yeah, Patrick and I get along really, really well. He's a super, super cool dude. He's 41. I'm about to be 40. Yeah, every time that we hang out, we realize we have sort of more in common. And yeah, just a super cool dude, man. And I don't typically have many close friends in life. I usually only have like one really close friend at a time, if any. And yeah, it's cool. Oh yeah, lots of dropped frames. Yeah, nothing I can do about it. Blame Comcast. Just pretend that I have the I hate Comcast shirt on. So yeah, it's always good to meet another person that I can get along with, and I don't know. I'm a weird guy, man. You guys get to see the absolute best that I have to offer. Warning: stream's current bitrate is 1,139 kilobits per second, lower than the recommended bitrate. What do you want me to do, YouTube? I do the same thing every day, and you fucked me. Now it says good connection. Great. Alpha Sloth is in the chat. Chomper FPV is in the chat. FPV Trucker, Brandon Bentley, Grant R, Alexander Romanenko, Chris Mel FPV, Grant R again, Imperative, AA, Obese Quads with the best name so far, as usual. Mark A, Mark Torgensen, Derek Scritchfield, Grant R. A lot of people I don't know. Welcome, new people. Or not new people, but people whose names I don't commonly see tagging me in the chat. If you want to talk directly to me, all you've got to do is type my name. You don't have to put the @ symbol in front of it, but you can if you'd like. This is how you basically say my name, you know? Like, in the world, like, if somebody's standing over there, if you just like, blah, 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 they're probably not going to know that you're talking to them. But if you go like, hey, John, blah, 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 they're going to be like, oh, cool. So the chat works the same way. If you type my name, or if you type anybody's name, you got to spell it right. When you type their name for them, it'll light up an orange, and they'll know that you're talking to them. So do that. It makes the chat a lot less confusing. Grant R, Chomper FPV, Mark Torgensen, Alexander Remenek again, Imperative again, Chomper FPV with a $25 super chat. Bro, thank you. He says, keep up the work, Aaron. I will, because of awesome people like you. Grant R, Athix FPV, Alexander DQ, and AA. What's up, friends? The people that have tagged me so far have said, what's up, Slayer? Late start, I'm here. You're lagging a bit, check your connection. Obese Quad says, what's up, dude? What's up, collective? Mark A says, hope all is going well. Mark Jordanson says, evening all. Athix says, hey, and just like that, I'm caught up on the chat. Yeah, the lag thing, like I said, is probably this gigantic storm that's kicking the shit out of Atlanta at the moment. So nothing I can do about it. I'll just keep doing stuff, and if you guys can see me, awesome. If not, nothing I can do about it. Jackalope FPV, that's a fun name. Obese Quads has officially been dethroned on tonight's stream in terms of having the best name. Jackalope, you win. Congratulations. He says, thought I missed today. Yay. And he also says, hit my first gaps today, also broke 2 props. Break 200 props, Jackalope. That's how you get better. You get better by crashing. When you crash, you break lots of propellers. So invest stock in GemFan, and then when you buy lots and lots of their propellers, you'll at least be helping yourself a little bit. Yeah, Jackalope, break lots of props, man. If there's one way, I shit you not, if there's one way to get better at flying faster, it's to crash a lot. The problem with crashing is that it can get a little bit expensive. Propellers are cheap, so if you're only breaking propellers, that's awesome. Keep crashing at whatever like level, like pretty much regardless if you're crashing, it's because you're pushing yourself. You can push yourself really hard, and a lot of times when you do that, the crashes will get a little bit more expensive, or you can push yourself like not super hard or like in a medium area. And in that medium area of pushing yourself, that's where breaking props is. So yeah, man, next time you buy props, buy like twice as many as you think that you should, and just break them all. Just break all the props. It's the cheapest and best way to get better as a pilot. You're doing it right, man. You already figured it out. Look at you go. Alexander says, any more news on the frame cut or still limbo? Yeah, still limbo. Alexander, though, check this out. I sent it to, I think I mentioned to you that I sent it over to Ryan Harrell for him to take a look at it. And he was like, he messaged me back. He's like, there's one thing that I wanted to change to show you. And then the next day or whatever, well, that would be today, this morning, he messaged me. He's like, I got super carried away. Ryan and I have been friends for a long, long time. So yeah, he got super carried away. But look what he did. He really did a bunch of cool stuff. Look at this. Look at that. Look at those big cuts and so yeah, we're gonna basically mix. I like your arms better, but look, he had this idea. He thinks that if we do a center M3 with a press nut, that it'll be enough to keep the arms, and it'll also prevent the arm wobble. So yeah, and then it can it'll decouple the stack mount bolts. I think you'd mentioned to me about decoupling the stack mount bolts, and I told you that I didn't think there was a way to do it. But yeah, this looks kind of interesting. It's still very similar geometry, but he just shifted this around to decouple those stack mount bolts. Look at that X plate. Look how crazy that looks. So yeah, very cool. This is turning into like a Source Ciotti build. Everybody gives a little bit of everybody gives a little bit, and we'll all have a super cool frame. So yeah, I'm still. Oh my god, that's so cool. He also offered to cut a prototype. That's super cool, especially because Woodchuck isn't getting back to me. I've messaged Woodchuck every day, and they haven't gotten back to me since Thursday last week, and now it's Thursday of this week. So if you could cut a prototype, that would be insane. I was hoping to have Woodchuck cut a few for me, but they've been ghosting me since Thursday of last week, and I don't love CNC Madness's quality. Oh my god, so cool, so cool. Yeah, Ryan Harrell has a tiny little desktop CNC. But I'm not going to ask Ryan to cut multiple prototypes because his CNC is tiny, like legit, like tiny, tiny, tiny. I'm concerned about the strength of the base plate because we're kind of violating the carbon a little bit on the base plate. So I think I want to have him cut just one prototype, and then I think I'm just going to put it together and take it arm to arm and just break the goddamn thing because I want to see where it breaks. I think yeah, there's a spot that I think it's gonna break. So if I just break the damn thing, I can see if that's the spot where it goes first or whatever. But yeah, we'll see. Very cool. I never thought to yeah, make it like a source C build. Athix says camcast. Let me get caught up on chat real quick. Quadmods FPV says, hey, can't get the channel order to match with Crossfire no matter what order I do. The channel order? What's that mean, Quadmods? I've never heard of that. The channel order? Oh, are you talking about like TX versus RX? Like channel 1, channel 2, TX versus RX? I never change it. I just, if I wire it backwards, I just switch the wires. That's me hitting the problem with a hammer. I don't have much luck with Lewis grips. They tend to really not work. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. Just swap the wires. I know it's kind of a pain in the ass, but the Crossfire Lewis grips typically don't work for me. I don't know why. And instead of troubleshooting shit like that, I'm just like, I just see the wires. I'm like, done. Chomper FPV says, I want to lock down a sponsor this year. Not really sure how to do that, but tagging them and trying to make better content. I'm hoping I'll be in Atlanta soon for a rip. I would love to shred with you, Chomper. In terms of locking down a sponsor, it's just all about working for free. If you keep doing marketing for them for free, they notice it, you know. So you just got to keep tagging them in posts, keep talking about them, and then eventually shoot them a message and say, hey, love your guys' product, been tagging you for a while. It helps to be able to say to them, like, I've got, you know, X number of subs, I get X number of watch hours on YouTube, stuff like that, right? Like, give them a couple, like, actual, like, figures, and cross your fingers. All that being said, keep in mind that, you know, a sponsorship doesn't necessarily mean free stuff. It means they're going to send you a bunch of stuff in exchange for more work. So, yeah, they send you a bunch of stuff. They expect you to tag them. They expect you to make videos and reviews about that stuff that they're sending you. And that stuff all takes time. So, you're not going to be getting paid $100 an hour to do that work. So just kind of keep that in mind, because there's a really strong case to be made for if you go to work and you make $20 or $30 or $40 an hour at work, you're probably not going to make that much money from a sponsorship. So just like work an hour of overtime, and then that'll cover the props that the sponsor would have sent you, kind of thing. If you know them, if you kind of catch my drift. Not to say that sponsorships are bad, but it's not free stuff. It's goods in exchange for services and time on your side, and you're not going to get rich doing that, right? If I had to guess, you're probably going to be paying yourself $10 an hour, maybe, realistically. Although, if you're already posting pictures of your rig with GemFan props on it, it doesn't take much time to copy and paste a chunk of text that you've got that has @GemFan in it. So, yeah, like if you have some kind of a flow and you were already doing that, then you're sort of paying yourself a little bit more. But, yeah, don't... my main advice for all of you guys is to really not get hung up on sponsorships. My approach to sponsorship was always that, like, I would sort of let them come to me, because I've just always understood that, like, it's not a great way to make money. It's not really a way to make money. It's a way to build a relationship. So yeah, keep that all in mind. There are some awesome... I've had a few sponsors over the years here. The way that GemFan has treated me, and just their whole approach to it has been pretty cool. They're really doing it right. They're in it for the right reasons. They understand. They get it. and they're supporting people that are not just like the big names. They're supporting people that are actually, you know, using their product and educating others about their product. And it was cool to kind of hear that. Like it was kind of cool to hear them say that about me, that one of the things they liked about me is that I don't just use their product, but I talk about their product and answer questions about it and educate you guys about what pitch means and the way the different profiles of the propeller work and the way that the tip vortices affect the next propeller that's coming around, stuff like that. So yeah, don't get carried away with sponsorships, but if they come to you, just understand that it's not free stuff. It's stuff in exchange for marketing, basically. Realistically, that's what it is. It's they give you a product and you do marketing for them. If you like to do marketing, awesome. If you hate to do marketing, don't get a sponsorship because you're not gonna like the sponsorship, right? So just keep that in mind. But definitely come to Atlanta and let's fly, man. DQ says that looks dope, can't wait. Drone Pilot says, hey all. Alexander says, let's iron it out with a few iterations and then we can get it right. That's exactly what I'm thinking, Alexander. Like, if Ryan cuts just this one, I mean, so the other reason why I just would like to cut only one on this is that, like, your version was really heavily based on the CB3, which is a known quantity, right? Like, I've flown the shit out of that rig. This version, Ryan has now made enough changes where I have like a bunch of like, and I like the changes that he's made, but it's no longer as much of a known quantity, right? So like when I thought Woodchuck was gonna cut a bunch of these, I felt very comfortable having like half a dozen made from that email string from the people that we were gonna get in on it. But yeah, now that Ryan got all carried away and did some really interesting stuff, I would feel much more comfortable getting one of these from him. Maybe I'll even, you know, I do have all the HGLRC electronics that they sent me for testing when I made fun of them on Facebook. So maybe I'll just throw those in there. And instead of just breaking it with my hands, I'll just fly it super hard and put a bunch of abuse into it. Because, yeah, I'm very curious. I'm also curious as to what it's going to weigh. So, yeah, good call, Alexander. This will be version 0.1. Drone Pilot says, yesterday turned out all good when I left in a hurry. Awesome. Good to hear that. AETR and TAER. Okay. Gotcha. Hopefully that fixes the problem with Crossfire. Michael Blade says, what do you recommend for a GoPro, the 8 or the 9? Definitely the 8, Michael. The 8 is lighter weight, and I have been told by big production houses like Real Brothers in LA that they prefer to work with the footage from the 8, and apparently the 8 footage works better in Real Steady Go, according to them. So when I thought that they were going to hire me towards the end of the year last year, they specifically asked me to film on an 8 rather than a 9. So definitely the 8. Supercell is here. What's up, Billy? How are you, man? How are you doing tonight? I am doing really well. How about you? Billy, your rigs are coming up. They're here. They're back out. They kind of, the Calax is filled with just an impossible number of builds over there. What I usually do is, like, when builds are coming up and getting ready, I'll put them over here so that I can see them a little bit easier, and I'll take them out of the bags. So they're actually right here. You're going to be seeing them getting. I got to pull the ESC out of the one and swap it, and then I think the other one, I'm pulling the ESC out. Oh, I'll get them all figured out. Drone Pilot says, channel order on the diversity is receivers, not what you expect out of the packet. You need to select channel 1 and channel 3 for TX and RX. I think defaults are set for a plane or something else. Oh my god, really? Channel 1 and channel 2, I meant by default. It is not CRFS on those two diversity receivers. Oh my god. Oh, I hate when things are confusing like that. Yeah, I guess it makes sense for the diversity to be a little bit weirder. Ugh. Riot 9 Riot 9 says Dalprop should pay me to not post their pictures of their exploded props. That was the only reason I moved away from the 5040s, is they just kept blowing up. B-Man is here. He says what's good. Hanging out with you guys is good, B-Man. That's what's good. Chomper says, good advice. I don't expect to make any money. Just support the companies like Thumbs Up, and building relationships is more important for me. GemFan is on the list for that reason. That's the way to go about it, Chomper. I had a feeling you know. But there's a lot of misconception around sponsorship, so I always like to try to kind of talk about it to make sure that everybody is sponsorships just seem like free money. A lot of people think that way, and a lot of people waste a lot of time obsessing over it. Just do your thing. Like the most important thing is just to do whatever you're doing, do what makes you happy, and then if the other thing is, if the sponsor comes to you, that's the only leverage that you have, right? Like, if you go out to the sponsor, you're like asking them for something. If you just keep doing your thing, and then you let them come to you, you're in a position of like, oh, well, you came to me, like, what are you going to do for me? So yeah, but just for the most part, my usual advice is just to like not think about sponsorships, and just have fun, make good stuff, and shit like that will appear out of thin air, and it'll be great, and you'll love it. Maybe have him put the arms I drew back on the frame design he put together off my drawing, then cut it, fly it into a concrete wall. Top speed for fun. Yeah, that would be interesting. Have him cut a second set of arms. I'm not super concerned about the arms. I'm mainly concerned about that sandwich plate. Just the fact that it has the little thingies there. But Ryan says he thinks it'll be totally fine, and he's done like a bunch of frames now. So I should just trust him. But I've broken a lot of microframes. He's only done one microframe, I believe, and I've broken a lot of microframes. So Billy says, all good, man, just there to help you out. Maybe more subs? Hell yeah, brother. I appreciate it. License to Drive says, all right. I'm assuming you typing it was pronouncing it in the way that... oh, shit, what's his name? Oh, god damn it. What's that actor's name? Oh my god, it's gonna drive me nuts. Somebody's gonna post it in the chat. Doesn't he say it in like every single movie too that he's in? Somebody will post it. Sick of Life 90 says, just finished rebuilding a 3-inch whole new stack and camera. That sounds painful, Sick of Life 90. I hate having to do full stack rebuilds on micros. That is one of my least favorite things to do in life. Matthew McConaughey, Derek Scritchfield coming through, preventing me from losing my mind. Chris Mel coming in right after him. Gotta be quicker, Chris. Derek, gotcha. Alright, let me actually, let me try something. I'm gonna be kind of working on this in my lap a little bit here. Not in my lap. Well, yeah, in my lap. So let me try something here. Try to lift this camera all the way up and then point it down. Is that all that you'll give me? Little camera adjustment? I'm always looking for a better way to, like, I tend to work on stuff in my lap a little bit, and on sort of like the front of the desk. So maybe this will be a little bit of a better kind of camera angle for that, to sort of show you guys what I'm up to. Oh, good timing, ImpFPV. Good timing. Shout out to ImpFPV, the newest Patreon subscriber. He sent me a message over on Sick of Life says he's using the iFlight 16x16 stack, so it was pretty easy. Very cool. Imp sent me a message over on Patreon, and he said, hey, he said, do you have like any kind of an organizational system? If so, what the hell is it? Is it a spreadsheet? Is it this, that, the other? And I replied back and I said, Imp, it's a really good question. I kind of don't, but I do have some things that I do. and I said, can you do me a huge favor and ask me that question on the next live stream? Because that's a really good topic for the live stream. And then Imp caught this live stream and came on in and asked the question. And that is pretty goddamn cool of Imp. So everybody give Imp a pat on the back. Go subscribe to his channel, if he has one. And I will try my best to kind of answer his questions. So I don't have like a spreadsheet. I don't have anything like I should. But I don't know. I'm the worst project manager ever because like I hate spreadsheets. Spreadsheets for me they're typically not like in my normal rotation of just life. And in terms of like staying organized, I try to have my organizational shit. I kind of need anything that I do organizational wise to be like in the cycle of things that I'm doing, right? Like I don't typically I do use Loctite on the motor screws, Mark, because they get vibrated so hard that they have a tendency to back out. Basically what I do, I put Loctite on the motor screws the very first time. If I'm putting a motor screw in that's fresh, that's never been used before, I put Loctite on it once, and then what happens is the Loctite dries in the threads, and then I never have to put Loctite on that motor screw again. And these are fresh motor screws that have never been installed before, so that's why I'm Loctiting them. That's why you guys don't normally see me Loctite motor screws, because most of my motor screws already have Loctite residue on them, and that residue just, like, yeah, it's just enough. So, yeah, in terms of, like, organizational shit, like, I don't look at spreadsheets often. Like, that's not in my normal flow of things that I do on a daily basis. So to have a spreadsheet that I would try to use for organizational stuff, I would probably not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would probably not look at that spreadsheet often enough for it to be, for it to have any value from an organizational standpoint. I hope that makes sense. Hold on, I gotta spin this around. You guys are gonna get motion sick, but it's gonna be alright, I promise. I need to just go like that, and like that, and like that. Okay, that's better. So, yeah. All that being said, I'm not the most organized person, but I do like subtle, small things here and there, and that tends to be enough. Also coupled with the fact that I try to live as minimal as possible within reason. I'm not a minimalist by any stretch of the imagination, but like the concept of being minimal is something that I try to just have in life in general. So here's a couple things that can really help you out. When you go out and fly, when you turn your GoPro on, talk to yourself. Turn your GoPro on and say, hey, it's so-and-so, it's such and such a date, I'm at such and such a spot, I am flying my glide with the light purple TPU, this is the one that's on F40 Pro 2, 1600 kV, with the OCP antenna. I forget what this antenna is called at the moment. I'm testing out this camera here, Baby Ratel 2, I think this one is, Nano. I'm running the so-and-so battery and Hero 8 set to 4K. Just like anything you can think of, just say things. Just say anything into the camera and then put like, and you know, you're usually like kind of finishing up and maybe strapping the battery down, and then put your quad down, fly it, and when you come back, do it again. Talk to the camera again. Hey, I was just flying it. I think I'll see in the HD footage that there was a little bit of prop wash in a couple different maneuvers. Also, I banged the left rear motor really good, so make sure that you check that when you get home. And it's going to be awkward, and you're not going to do a good job of it the first 50 times, but eventually you're going to figure out like what you need to say to yourself as a reminder for the rig. because then you might not watch your footage for like a month, right? And a month later, you're not going to remember any of that stuff. So yeah, that's a really big tip that I can give you. Also, it's going to prevent you from like banging up a motor and then you don't fly the rig for a month. You forget that you banged up the motor, you go out to fly a month later, and the damn thing flies away because the motor got banged up. Or you can't fly at all because you forgot to fix the motor. So that's a really big one, and it's one that's very easy to do, right? Just like when you're getting ready to fly, push the goddamn record button before you strap the battery down to just give yourself a little bit of time to kind of talk to the camera, right? You don't get the whole quad ready and then push the button and then stand here and look at it and talk, right? Like, that's a waste of time. Do it while you're strapping the battery down, while you're plugging the battery in, while you're changing propellers, stuff like that. Another thing that you can do is, that I've found pretty helpful, is for a while I did this with prop bags. Never throw away your propeller bags. And you probably have a whole bunch of them. Make one propeller bag with all of your extra motors. Make another propeller bag with all of your, this is actually a bag of bags, and some other random stuff. Just like have propeller bags that you use for receivers, one bag for ESCs, one bag for flight controllers, one bag for VTXs, one bag for tiny whoop stuff, one bag for 2-inch stuff, one bag for 2.5-inch stuff, one bag for 3-inch stuff, right? Just like force yourself to bag stuff. I actually bag with bigger Ziploc bags. I bag up my builds that are coming. So like as I get a frame, I'll put it in a big bag, and then when I get the ESC that I want to use for that frame, I put it in the bag. When I get the flight controller that I want to use, I put it in the bag. So yeah, have like individual. This is the Acrobrat that needs to be repaired. This is this is an FPV crate, all FPV crate build. This is going to be the giveaway prize for when I hit 200 patrons. So this is all that stuff. What else? This is this racing build that I always push back, but yeah, it's a racing frame and then like 2206 lightweight motors. So this will be like a racing build. See what I mean? And that way, like as you get specific components that you want to use for a specific build, you can kind of keep them all together, right? And then I've got this is like a micro build. This is all that HDLRC stuff, which I was gonna put it in a ripsqueak, but it looks like it'd be a better idea to maybe put it in this prototype frame that's coming. So yeah, each one of these bags is a build, for the most part. But just using your prop bags will actually make a really big difference. And it should also make you feel better about, just being green. Reduce, reuse, recycle, my friends. I have now graduated to boxes. These are the boxes that come in the FPV crates, turned inside out. When you get the FPV crate, see this is the sub 250 box. The majority of the box is black on the outside, so I can't write on it. But with most cardboard fold-up boxes, you can build them inside out, and when you build these boxes inside out, they look like this, and you can write. There's a nice light color, and you can write on it. So yeah, I just keep all my receivers in here, and I've been doing that lately, which is pretty cool. And then I also have bigger, the 5-inch boxes that they send me. I have them labeled out for like tiny whoop. So this is my tiny whoop box of all Tiny Whoop shit, all my Tiny Whoop batteries and whatnot. So yeah, I try to like reuse stuff that, you know, I would normally throw away. Especially like these boxes are really good quality. Like it's nice thick cardboard. It's like the printing is really nice. So yeah, I was trying to figure out how to reuse these for a while, and then I realized I could build them inside out and then marker on them. And then, you know, you just keep reusing them because you got all that space, so you just cross stuff out. If you change it from a Tiny Whoop box to a 3-inch build box, you just cross it out and rewrite it. That's kind of it. I don't really do much other than that. I do have a little bit of a system here with the toolbox. Let me see if I can show you guys this. This is going to be a little bit hard, but so I do have a little bit of a system going on where the tools that I use most often I keep right here, so that like I'm working, and I can just reach over and grab them. These are the tools that get used constantly, though, absolutely constantly. So there's not many of them. Pair of dikes, pliers, the MIP drivers, and they usually sit like that. Prop wrench, the Weeha 1.52, 2.5, the big tweezers, the small tweezers, and the little spudger from Frank. That's it. These are the tools that get used constantly. The 5X loop as well just kind of hangs out here. You don't want a million tools here because then it's a bitch to like, you're like digging for stuff, right? By having a minimal number of tools here, it's just like big Weeha driver, done. Big, you know, like, and I have also color coded these. The MIPs come with these nice little labels. You don't really need to see it in focus. You can see that it's blue. Blue is the 2.5 millimeter. So then I took a paint marker and I put some blue on the 2.5 millimeter Weeha driver, and I'm starting to recognize. I mean, I can pretty much just look at the thickness of the damn things, but yeah, color coding is a trick that I learned from Adam from Tested. In the toolbox itself, can't really show you the toolbox itself, but it's not a big toolbox. It's a mechanics toolbox, and I just basically try to like not a mechanics toolbox. It's a machinist's toolbox made by Kennedy, and my thought process is basically with the toolbox, like if I haven't used something in this box in like a couple months, it comes out of the box. Sometimes I'm better about that than others, but yeah, like you have to pick your own. You have to pick your own interval there. It could be 1 month. It could be a year. But yeah, with your toolbox, and I love having the toolbox right in front of me so that I can just pull the drawers, go in it, push the drawer back. Don't just have your toolbox filled with every tool you've ever gotten, because then you're just going to waste time rooting through it all the time. The toolbox should be as clean as possible so that if you need to go in it, it's quick. I know it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but when you're working over and over and over and over and over again, a half a second piles up, right? If you save a half a second 1,000 times, that's 500 seconds. That's a good amount of time. So yeah, and it also keeps it clean, right? Like that's, my workbench is usually in some semblance of order. I have like a little area that I allow to be a little bit of a mess because it's not in the way, but within reason. Like if it gets a little bit too messy, I will take the time to just clean it up. If nothing else, then like your brain kind of works better. There's like a part of there's a part of Buddhism that actually talks about how important it is to, whenever you're going to do something, the first step is to clean. And like woo-woo aside, Eastern medicine aside, if like I think we've all at some point cleaned something up in like a work area or just like even in the kitchen and then done the task and it feels better. Like it's just like cleaning and then doing, there's just like it just feels good. And that's your body, like that just magical good feeling. That's your body like talking to you, man. Like that shit's important. You gotta listen to your body from time to time. So yeah, I think those are really the main things. Now that it's on my mind, I will remember other things that I do. If you're not subscribed to Tested, subscribe to Tested. That's Adam Savage from Mythbusters YouTube channel. Adam has a lot of little tips and tricks here and there. How he organizes the cave, which is his shop, where he has tons and tons and tons of shit. He just had a really good one the other day. When he builds shelving for his shop, he builds his shelves very narrow, like as in not deep, because what he said is, if you've got a deep shelf and you put something in the back of that shelf and then you put something in front of that, that thing in the back of that shelf is gone forever. And that word came out of his mouth and I was like, oh my God, that is so true. Obviously not gone forever, but gone until you grab the thing in front of it and then you're like, oh fuck, I forgot about that. And then you use the thing in front of it and you put it back and then it's gone again. So yeah, he's got some really interesting ideas about shop organization that he just put up a video about it too. So you won't have to look very far in Tested. You'll end up loving Tested. Adam is a fascinating guy, and yeah, it's just great to listen to him talk. So yeah, there's some really good stuff. As I think of more stuff, I will mention it. Finn FPV in the house. What's up, brother? I just sent Finn. So the flying from the opening of this stream, I sent that and a bunch of other batteries from that day over to Finn. He's gonna do a little bit of editing and we'll see how it is. He's offered to potentially be my editor-ish. I'm not. It's a very gray area. I don't know. I can't afford an editor, right? He was very kind in offering to do some work for nothing up front here. The problem is I can't afford an actual editor, and I'm not going to expect anybody to do this shit for free. But yeah, we'll see. He offered to like do it for being put into the giveaways and stuff like that. So like I do have some things that I can offer that have some value, but I'm not going to pay Finn $2 an hour. Like that's not fair. Doing editing is something that like minimum $20 an hour minimum. So if I can find out a way to make it worth his while where I feel good, that I'm giving him enough value for his time, and obviously he feels good, then yeah, we'll see. But I'm not gonna let anybody. Because what my worry is with editing is that editing, it's very easy to burn out on editing, and I'm not going to let somebody do that to themselves. You know what I'm saying? So if any of you guys need editing done, you're going to be paying Finn minimum $20 an hour. Probably closer to like 40 an hour is a much more fair number. But yeah, if I can use my microphone here to get Finn some work at 20 or 30 or $40 an hour for editing, that would make me feel better about it. But yeah, it's we'll work together and figure something out. I can't wait to see what he does. His edits look super cool. Go give him a subscribe. He's a newer pilot. You're probably from watching some of your stuff, I would guess you're maybe a year into flying Finn. And his edits are a really good example of, if you take a little bit of time during the edit, you can produce, even if your flying is not like amazing yet, right? You can still make a finished product that's totally watchable, by just spending a little bit of time in the edit. And editing is fun. it can get a little monotonous at times, and it's very easy to kind of burn out on it. But yeah, so go give FinFPV a look. His edits are a great example of what you can do as not a pro pilot, right? Like it's very easy to get into this trap of like watching pro pilots edits and just being like, well, I'm never going to be able to do anything like that. Nobody's ever going to watch my stuff. I'm just not even going to try. And that's silly, first and foremost, because not everybody wants to watch the best of the best. Like, a lot of times if you're 6 months in the hobby and you watch somebody's edit that's a year into the hobby and they're you know, a little bit better than you, you can actually get a lot, you can learn a lot more from that person than from somebody that's 4 fucking years in and is just doing these moves that are like, what the hell is happening? Like, you know when you can tell? If you're watching somebody and they do something and they don't have a stick overlay and you're like, I don't even know what the hell they just did. What good does that do you? Right? Whereas if you're watching somebody that doesn't have a stick overlay and you understand everything that they're doing and how they're doing it, your brain is actually able to process that, right? Like, it's not going to give you as much of a dopamine hit of like, ooh, that was so sick. But as trying to get better as a pilot, right, which most of us are doing, yeah. So make edits. It's a really cool life skill to have too. Being able to edit video. You go to a friend's very low budget wedding and they don't have a videographer and you're completely shit broke at the time. And for your wedding present to them, you make them an edit. Guess what? It's the best fucking wedding present that they got. It's the cheapest, it's the most free, but it is the best wedding present that they got. I guarantee you. I don't care if their parents bought them a $1,000 big ass TV. The video that you edited will stay with them forever. That big ass TV will be obsolete in 5 years, right? Learning to edit is an incredible skill to have, and there are a million tutorials on YouTube. For the most part, though, you can just go start clicking buttons. Just go in there. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to know what's what. Just fucking click buttons. What's going to happen? You're going to delete the shitty flight edit that you hated anyway and you were going to make fun. Oh, damn, I have to go out and fly again. Damn. All right, let me not delete it this time. Oh, okay. Click, 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 click. Oh, that's what that does. Click, 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 click. Oh, that's what that does. Eventually, you'll get stumped. Type your question verbatim as you're thinking about it in your mind into Google, and Google will probably show you the answer in the first hit. Edit. It's fun. It's not always fun, but it's a really great skill to have in life. Now that, you know, it's 2021, right? CiottiFPV says, would you trust a cam that messes with the sync pulses when touching the plug? I tap the cam and doesn't mess up. I was shocking it too. Your head's in the right place, Athix. You shouldn't trust it. For me, Jackalope says, link to Ciotti's Patreon. Just go to CiottiFPV.com and it's the very top link. You should not trust it, Athix. For me, what I would do with that camera is that I would put that camera onto my like basher rig, my freestyle basher rig, and I would pretty quickly break the camera. And then, awesome. I used that camera until it was fully broken. I have a hard time throwing things away until they're like on fire. So yeah, that's what I would do with it. I would not keep that on a rig that's gonna get flown in unrecoverable spots, basically. That's where I sort of draw the line. But realistically, not being such a lunatic, that camera should just go in the garbage because it's gonna fail at the worst possible time. But if you have a basher rig that you fly in, like, you know, recoverable spots, parking lots and shit like that, that's the camera for that rig. And then when you're flying it, you'll be like, well, I want to break this camera, so I'm going to really go for it and just really hammer the shit out of this rig. Crisp Potatoes says, hey, sorry, I've been screwed up with schoolwork, so hey, it's all good, Crisp Potatoes. Glad you're back. License to Drive says, so basically you're saying use the first minute of the GoPro's recording to record a short vlog. Pretty much, License. Yeah, pretty much. And if you do that while you're doing the things that you need to do on the rig and putting your goggles on and screwing your antennas and shit like that, it's free time, right? You're multitasking while you're turning on your radio and screwing your antenna in and doing all that other nonsense. And like I said, as you do that more and more, you will get better and better at it. Go figure. And you'll learn the things that you should, and the things that are worthwhile for you to say, and the things that are useless for you to say. But you just have to do it. You have to do it the next time you go out and fly, and then you have to do it the time after that, and the time after that, and the time after that. You got to do it. You just do it, and then get sponsored by Nike. No, for the record, I remember back. I went to a back when I was in project management marketing. I went to a seminar, a marketing specific seminar, and they were talking about how brilliant Nike's marketing team has always been. And it was funny because they talked about their slogan, "Just do it." Right? If you're old enough, you'll know that. You'll know "Just do it," and that'll. Like, when I said, you old heads, when I said "just do it" a minute ago, Nike's logo popped into your head, didn't it? You pictured Nike's fucking swoosh logo, didn't you? Ain't that some shit? That's fucking marketing right there. Those three words triggered that benign image in your head. What is that logo? That logo doesn't have any text. It doesn't make any sense. Right? It's just a fucking shape, but like iconic, right? Like iconic logo. Just Do It is a really interesting logo for life, and it feels a little like played out, right? Because those three words, like in the 80s and 90s, were like everywhere, right? And it just got like kind of driven into the ground. But like those three words have a lot of power to them, right? Like stuff in your life that you don't do that you want to do. Those three words could get you to do it. It's hard to say that to yourself when you think it's corny. Corny, that's the other word. It's kind of corny, right? Maybe that's just me. But yeah. Those three words, they'll get you to do some shit that you know you should do. Like exercising, like meditating, like just things in your life that you're not doing that you wish you were doing, aren't there? Just a thought. Big Tater says, change to this account, but I've been screwed up with schoolwork, so I'm back for now. It's all good. He's got all the taters. The taters are crisp, they're big. They're juicy. Juicy taters is next. Oh, God. I can't believe those words came out of my mouth. Athix says, you were talking about recording vlog stuff. This hobby is all about consistency, like your builds, like your Pro 2 motors. The more you keep the same, the better you get, like steel. Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. I mean, there is a point where you do have to update, but you always want to update in like a measured way. But, yeah. DQ says, diamond antenna on the Crossfire transmitter or stock? Diamond for me. I didn't do a lot of research on the Crossfire shit. I just kind of went with what everybody else uses. For my understanding is that the diamond antenna has the most 360 degree coverage pattern. So with freestyle, you're going to be in front of yourself, you're going to be behind yourself, you're going to be up high, you're going to be down low, you're going to be all over the goddamn place. So the diamond is just going to blast signal everywhere. And that's what I want for freestyle. The stock antenna is going to be more directional. It's making a donut that's strong straight ahead and behind you. Unfortunately, behind you gets blocked by your body. Your body is filled with water. Water is really good at blocking RX. So the stock antenna is going to be super strong directly out in front of you, but less strong. And the nulls are going to be left and right. So it's going to be the least strong directly left and right, like this, if you just stretch your arms out. And I fly over there and over there a lot when I'm flying freestyle. So that's kind of my thought. And then if you get the dipole, Peter the Penetrator, and you run that thing vertical, it's going to be a donut like this. So it's going to be very strong in all of these directions, but it's not going to be strong straight up. And if you fly really high in the air, could be a problem. So yeah, I go with the diamonds just because it blasts in all directions and I just don't have to think about it. And crossfire is such a strong link that I've been over a mile out with the diamond and it was totally fine. So that's sort of my take on it. Jackalope FPV says, we've spent so much time together, I already figured I would make it official. Sounds good, Jackalope. Much appreciated. I'm assuming that you just jumped on the Discord. I don't have my email up, so I didn't get a notification. But if you did, thank you for being the newest, not Discord, Patreonian. There he is. Awesome, brother. Welcome to the collective. You will now get notifications for my daily live streams. And that way you won't miss them. Because YouTube's notification system blows goats. Supercell says, I was about to say I use the FPV crate box and they're a strong, good box. That's true. That's the perfect word for it, Billy, is strong. Those FPV crate boxes are strong, dude. They're like this is the new one. This is their brand new redesigned box. You guys will probably hear it. Like, hear that? Like, oh, it's just like, ooh, yeah. Ooh, 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 I'm a box. I'm a strong box. Ooh. Yeah, this is the inside of their new box. Here's the outside of their new box. Yeah, it's nice, thick quality. You guys know what I mean. You guys have bought a product at some point that's come in a box that you're like, damn, that's a nice box. Quality box. This must be a good product in here. And then it catches on fire the first time you use it. But at least the box was nice. Kaiser Soze is in the chat, fresh off of... God damn it, I forget the movie. I'm forgetting movies tonight. What the hell's the name of the movie? With Kaiser Soze. I'll leave it up to you guys. Drop it in the chat. I'm brain dead apparently with movies tonight. Getting caught up on chat here. He says, how do you store your batteries? Really good question, Kaiser. I have like 8, I think, Kevlar battery bags. And the reason that I have so many is so that I can put these damn things all over the place so that there's never one more than like an arm's reach away. So this is my bench battery. It's literally like, look at this, how stupid the shape of this battery is. Like, this doesn't fit on any rigs. It's just the stupidest shape ever. So it's my bench battery. Whenever I plug a rig in here on the workbench, I use this battery. But I don't want to just put this down like on the desk here. I don't want to put it down on the carpet. So I spent the $6 or whatever the hell these things are. They're nice and cheap. And this sits on the floor just like this, just with one goddamn battery in it. But you know what? If this battery goes boom boom, it's contained in this Kevlar. It's not going to catch the carpet on fire. Fire might go up a little bit, but there's nothing above it. And yeah, it's going to be fine. Over there in my battery charging station on the bottom of this thing, there's the other like 6 or 7 of those bags. And they're just everywhere over there. They're just like stacked on top of each other so that there's never an excuse. There's always 1 or 2 of them that are empty. So there's never an excuse to put a battery down on the carpet or on a piece of wood or anywhere other than somewhat encased in Kevlar. And those Kevlar battery bags work shockingly well, especially for our batteries, for our smaller batteries. If you're doing long-range stuff with like big-ass long-range batteries, you got to be more careful than I am. I'm able to have this system be pretty bulletproof because the biggest battery that I've got is a 6S 1400. That's not true. I have that 2200, but that is in its own nice thick. It's in the thickest of the Kevlar battery bags. And even that 6S 2200, or I think that's what it is. Even that is not that big of a battery. Like there's an old flight test video testing the BAT safe, BATT safe, and they had some like gigantic batteries that they tested, and they were like horrendous. They were really scary. But the mini quad batteries that they tested that were much smaller, were a lot less horrifying. So I used what I learned from the way that those batteries vented from that video to kind of develop a little bit of a system. Here's the other thing. The big thing is that when a battery is starting to show signs that it could potentially catch on fire, get it the fuck out of your house. Like, for real. I don't even like to put them in the car. Like, if it happens when I'm out flying and I bang one up really bad and it's really dented, I don't even like to put it in the car. What I'll usually do is take like the safe batteries out of the Kevlar bag, and I will put those in my flight bag, and then I will put the really sketchy battery into the Kevlar bag, and then on my way home I'll stop at like a Best Buy or a Target where they have the bins, and I will just, it is just not worth it. Just get it the hell out of here. Or sometimes if I'm feeling lazy, I'll cop to this. If I'm at a spot that has a dumpster, I will just leave it there. But it's not good to do that. Just stop at like a Best Buy or Target and right home, put it in the row in the thing, in the little bin there. But yeah, the biggest thing is, or if you're charging a battery and it's got a cell that is showing a really high internal resistance, get it the hell out of the house. It is not worth burning your home down, potentially killing someone over a $20 battery, or even a $30 or even a $40 battery. Just don't ignore the warning signs. Word FPV says, I see you're using race wire. I just got some in. Came with lights under the arms as well. Do you have any install recommendations other than to insulate? Yeah, just insulate them. Word FPV. Just throw a wrap of shrink wrap around them. That will also protect the LEDs, because when the prop strikes those LEDs, it breaks them right the hell off. So yeah, just put a piece of shrink wrap around to hold the LEDs in there, and then it'll also insulate it against the carbon. Other than that, they're pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Little piece of VHB on the bottom to stick it down to the arm. I also do like to put either a zip tie up around it to really just secure it, but you don't have to. If you put a nice big piece of VHB, you're going to be totally fine. They're pretty easy. Mark A says, you mentioned a bit the other day, but I missed most of it. Can you please talk about what settings you run on the Session 5? To be honest, Mark, same sessions as everybody does. If you just do like a YouTube search for like best FPV Session 5 settings, everybody pretty much runs the same set of settings. ProTune, which is a little bit harder to turn on now. There's information on YouTube how to do it. ProTune on. I don't lock the shutter, because locking the shutter is a good way of having part of the flight not usable, and I don't find the shutter moving around to be that big of a deal. Big thing is to set your max ISO to 400. I don't want it to go above 400 ISO because it gets really ugly and noisy up there. And then I lock the white balance to 5500, and then you just fix it in post. It's totally fine. 5500 is like, it's going to be wrong in direct sunlight, it's going to be wrong in indoor incandescent, but it's at least wrong the whole time. If you have your white balance on auto, in the middle of your flight it could change, and then it's just so much harder to fix it in post, because you have to correct it in the beginning of the flight, and then you have to correct it at the end of the flight, and it usually won't just change once, it'll change over and over and over again. So you gotta like, yeah, it's just a nightmare. Just set it to a value. I like 5500 because that's sort of in the middle, and then yeah, you're good to go. That's really about it. There aren't a whole lot of settings on a Session 5. If there's any other setting that you can think of, just tag me and I'll tell you what I have it at. But the big thing is max ISO of 400, and lock down your white balance so it doesn't try to adjust. The problem is, like, you'll go under trees and the white balance will adjust for cloudy, and and then you'll go back out into the bright sunshine and it'll adjust for the sunshine, and it doesn't look good. Quessy Williams says, what are some of your recommended motors for 5-inch freestyle, not necessarily budget motors? Quasi, I'm in a really weird place with 5-inch freestyle motors. I I don't really feel comfortable recommending anything right now, to be completely honest with you. Um, I am stuck. I've I to the point where I found a secret stash of these old discontinued F40 Pro 2s, and I bought a whole bunch of them. But I can't recommend that you guys buy F40 Pro 2s, A, because you're not going to find them anywhere because they were discontinued over a year ago, and B, as soon as if you buy a set, if you do find a set, you're not going to be able to replace the damn thing. So you're going to break one of them, and then you're going to have 3 perfectly good ones that you can't do anything with because they got discontinued. For me, I've been running them for 2 years, so I have like they're on all the rigs and they're all over the damn place. I have been recommending the T-Motor F40 Pro 4s, but recently I found a pretty serious problem with them. In that the bell is contacting the top of the windings, and I talked to T-Motor about it, and they said, we've never heard about that before, which is really not what I wanted them to say. And then they said, but it won't happen on the new batches. We'll send you 4. So there are 4 of their new batch of F40 Pro 4s coming. I don't know. I recommend those motors because they're very, very lightweight. And the weight on the ends of the arms is very, very important. Because the ends of the arms move a lot. When you do a roll, see how much they're moving? It's a big deal. When you do pitch, see how much they're moving? That's a big deal. The less weight out here, the crisper everything becomes, and the less work that the PID loop has to do. The performance difference in like as little as 1.5 grams on the end of the arm is shocking. And pretty much all of the 2306s that are available nowadays are very heavy. They're 2 to 3 grams heavier than these F40 Pro 4s. So yeah, I'm kind of stuck. The only other lightweight 2306 at the moment is the Steel Stout V3s, but they're very fragile. Every single person I've ever talked to, other than Steel, that runs those motors complains about how fragile they are. And they're a $27 motor. And that's just silly. In terms of... so what I can recommend, though, are the... and you should hurry because the price is about to go up. The Newbie Drone Flow 2306.5 motors. They are an incredible value. They're like $11 and change per motor, and they have a titanium shaft. And that just like the next cheapest titanium shaft motor is like $23 per. So if you hurry, and if you're okay with a little bit of extra weight on the arms, the Newbie Drone Flow 2306.5s are great. You're probably only going to be able to get them in 2400 kV, but that's okay if you're on 6S because you can just go into the PID tab in Betaflight and motor limit them down to like 75%, and you'll be totally fine. They will perform just like a 1700-ish kV motor. Other than that, I don't know. I'm in a really weird spot with 5-inch motors at the moment. It killed me to have to buy these F40 Pro 2s because there's some stuff that I don't like about them. But they were only $20 a motor, which is, still a little bit much. But they're cheap, and I know that they work, and I know that they're not going to give me this weird durability issue with the bell smashing the windings. So yeah, there might be some more motor testing coming because these are now gone. I can't get any more of these, and I bought these 6. They won't last me more than like another month or 2. and I gotta pick something. I really hope that this new batch of F40 Pro 4s comes and they fix the problem. That would be beautiful, because yeah, they're a $25 motor, and they are strong. They are a strong motor, a lot stronger than the Steel Stouts, it seems. And they're currently being made, so they're available. Cat's under the table. He deserves beatings. Oh, it's almost time to feed him now. That's why he's under here. Can you guys hear when I beat him? You guys hear that? Why do you like that so much? I do it so that you'll go away, and then you just stand there and you take it. Oh, shitbird. FinFPV says, my demand's $1 million per hour. He says, you nailed it just over a year, and damn, thanks for the kind words. Well deserved, Finn. Well deserved, man. Big Taters, that's weird that I nailed it just over a year. I don't know, you just kind of tell. You can, once you've been into it for long enough, you can kind of tell where somebody is as a pilot. Mainly because you were there, you know. When I was about a year in, I might have been a little bit beyond Finn, because I flew micros, and there was a lot of that first year that I forced myself to fly 10 batteries a day every day, and that's a lot. Like, most people can't do that. Most people can't fly 10 a day every day. But yeah, there's also, like, I don't know, even if you fly a ton of batteries, there's just there's a feeling that you get with time, like, just with any, like, skilled thing in life, like a difficult thing to do, there's like a maturity, not in like the human being sense, but there's just like a maturity to someone's ability to do that. And even if like somebody isn't good, you can still kind of tell. You can still kind of tell that they've been into something for a long time. I don't know. It's I noticed it in motorsport. Like, even like I would work with drivers that weren't necessarily fast, but I could still kind of tell that they'd been doing it for a long time. I always really liked that, actually. That was always very rewarding, to work with those drivers and figure out why the hell they weren't fast. And it was usually like, a lot of times it was bad habits. A lot of time they would have like a couple bad habits, or they just like wouldn't have noticed something. And it could even, sometimes it was even down to like car setup. Like I remember one of the guys from our region had a Fox body Mustang with, and I was a Mustang guy at the time when I started instructing, and he had manual steering on it. He had a shitload of caster, and caster is, I'm not going to explain caster. And then he ran big wide Hoosier A6. A6 is the softest compound. It's an autocross specific compound. Like 295s, I think, all around, with manual steering on a depowered power rack. Manual, like, so if you're going to depower a powered rack, the steering effort is huge. If you put the stickiest compound tires that are 295 millimeters wide on the front, the steering effort is huge. If you put a shitload of caster into the front suspension, the steering effort is huge. So, like, he had all these things going for him, and I didn't notice it until I'd instructed with him a bunch, but I didn't notice it until I drove the car. And once I drove the car, I was like, dude, like you're a bit, like, he had, I'm a skinny bastard, but, and he was a much bigger, stronger guy, but, like, there's, like, you can do, like, one of those three things, you can maybe do two of those things, but if you do all three of those things, the steering effort literally becomes so high that to catch a slide becomes almost impossible. So it was this weird like combination of things that were preventing him from getting any faster, and it was like this weird physical limitation of the car. And yeah, it was really cool to kind of like realize that. And then he first tried putting in a manual rack. So a manual rack is designed to be depowered, and that helped a little bit. But then I think eventually he put in a powered rack and got way fucking faster. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And he'd been autocrossing for like fucking 10 years at that point. And I came in like I was like 2 years in his class, E Street Prepared, and I started demolishing him. And then the following year when I started instructing is when we started to work together. He's like, dude, come on, what, like, get in this car and help me beat you again. So, yeah, I don't know. Instructing is, I really wish I'd realized when I was in college that I would enjoy teaching. Because I would have been a music major, and that would have been fun. Maybe I would have hated teaching music, though. I don't know. But, okay. Big Tater says, did I miss anything important? Not really. Me just talking shit, as always. License to Drive says, color coding your hex drivers, etc. A bead of heat shrink tubing on the shaft is perfect for that. Oh, God, that's so true. That's such a good call, License to Drive. Oh, my God, I'm going to do that, too. I don't have blue. All I have is red. I got to get some colored heat shrink. Fuck, that's a good idea, dude. God. I mean, that's what the MIP drivers have. They come with the... It's actually just a sticker, and then you heat shrink over the sticker, but... CMYK in the house. Supercell, unable to type JB. CiottiFPV says, that cam is going my OG Chameleon Fat 5-inch. Joan Pilot says, I have a 7-inch rig, and it wasn't flying well. It's the basher. How on earth does carbon fiber bend and stay bent? Well, usually it doesn't. That's crazy. Oh, no, you know what? It does. When that happens when the carbon fiber weave is in the wrong direction. Yeah, a lot of I forget the name of the shop, but I won't throw them under the bus anyway. A lot of micro frame manufacturers, it took them a long time, and some of them still have Airblade. A lot of Airblade's frames had the carbon fiber weave going 45 degrees in the wrong direction down the length of the arms, and that will let the arm bend and not break. It's one of the many reasons it's so important to have the carbon fiber weave going like this on the length of the arm. So yeah, when the carbon fiber weave is 45 degrees, that will let carbon fiber bend and stay bent. It's really, really bad. License to Drive says, the slogan is Nike's just do a slogan is the most iconic. But what you reminded me of was the video of Shia LaBeouf shouting "Do it" in front of a green screen. Yeah, Shia LaBeouf, that guy. YouTube did the thing. Oh, I'm way behind on chat. Let me get caught up here. Journey George says, I enjoy strong donuts. DQ says, thanks, I got the diamond antenna. Gonna slap it on right now. Awesome. Crisp Taters says, just made juicy taters, so be working. Bye for now. BeefTube says, yes, gotta guess the experience of the unboxing and the box itself is important for those crate subscriptions. The FPV crate does come with really good stuff inside. Monthly crates are an incredible challenge. How the hell do you put stuff in there that's going to make even more than like 50% of people happy? I don't know how. It's just an impossible scenario. FPV Crate obviously has done a better job of it than anyone else, though, because all the other crates are now gone, and they're the ones that have survived. So, Athix says, when it comes to battery safety, look up the Rotorite video of Vortex's 6S going off. I don't know if I've seen that one. I don't like watching the batteries go off, though, man. It's scary. Brandon Bentley says, your cat has a raccoon tail. He sure does. And he's got eyeliner on. My cat is like Ladrib. Did you guys ever notice that about him? Come here, buddy. You want to come under here again? Look at this eyeliner this guy has. Ready? See it? Little boy. Little boy. He's such a little shit. Look at him. Look at the little jerk. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Good boy. I'll be back. Oh my god. Look at that. Look at all that. Oh boy. Hold on. Right back. I'm allergic to cats, for anybody who doesn't know this. Hey, is this door half open being okay? Is this door being half open okay? Alright, cool. Alright. There's a chance I won't have a horrible allergy attack. Mark A says the new Pro 40s now have an O-ring that stops the bell hitting the windings. I crashed just as hard as you, and it seems to, and have not had any more issues on the new ones. So Mark, all of the F40 Pro 4s have that same setup. So to preface this, T-Motor stamps a number on the stator, on the side of the stator of their of all their motors. That number has nothing to do with the KV, unfortunately. That number is the batch. First batch, second batch, third batch, fourth batch, fifth batch. I have 7 T-Motor F40 Pro 2 stators where the bell has contacted the windings. And of those 7, I've got batch 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know what batch they're on now. I will know when the 4 that they sent me arrive. But yeah, batches 1, 2, 3, and 4 all have this problem. The O-rings are all there. The O-rings all seem to be the same durometer, the same stiffness. Yeah. So hopefully batch 5, batch 6, batch 7 has either more clearance on the bottom of the bell or a stiffer O-ring and or some other way to prevent this from happening. But yeah, I didn't notice it. I did not notice it. And then when I was flying at the stadium, I had a crash, and afterwards, the right rear motor kept, like, I would power up to take off, and the right rear motor would drop out. And I was like, oh, damn, I finally blew up an Acon ESC, because that's a pretty common thing. When you blow up a channel on the ESC, it'll exhibit that sort of behavior. But then when I got home, and I looked at the stator on the motor, because you always want to blame the motor first, because it's easier to repair, the bell had hit the windings so hard that it cut 2 of the windings, and that's why that motor was dropping out. And then I pulled all my rigs down, and I looked at all the tops of the stators, and there were 7 motors that the bell had contacted the top of the windings. And yeah, I took a whole bunch of pictures and spent the next couple nights talking to Vivian and Anna over at T-Motor about it. And there's a language barrier, so it's hard to have those like technical kind of conversations with them. But hopefully these 4 that they send me will be good to go. Yeah, I'm they're the only light 2306s. If they didn't fix the problem, I literally have no idea what I'm gonna do. I really don't want to go. All the other motors are like 2.5, 3 grams heavier. I'm like, no, what? No. Why are these motors so heavy? Stop. It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad for performance. Family Guyver says, I found iFlight orange camo 2306s are titanium shafts and $20 a motor. Oh, there we go. Okay. So $20. Still not $12 or $11 and change, but $20 is pretty good. Unfortunately, the iFlight motors are horrendously heavy. I think their 2306s are like 33 grams and change. These F40 Pro 4s are 29.6 grams per. So, Ruby Tim says, still love my drib motors at 30 grams. It might not be as durable as others, but I don't care. I crash hard a lot. I've had sets last me years of mild crashing. So I'll mail you a used set to test if you want. You can crash them all you want to test durability. So the OG Hype Train motors, the drib motors, the silver and black freestyle motors, and nope, just them. Those are T-Motor. Oh God. Those are T-Motor F40 Pro 2s with a fancy looking bell on them. So that what Remy Tim is saying there is the exact reason why I bought a bunch more of these F40 Pro 2s, because he's right. They are durable. They're not as durable. The O-ring setup is a really, really good thing. The O-ring setup between the stator and the bell is a really important development. And those Hype Train motors and these F40 Pro 2s do not have that. And without that, basically the top bearing takes a lot more abuse. I have a ton of extra top bearings, but they're kind of a pain in the ass to smash out and replace. So yeah, the O-ring setup is really, really good, but you got to make sure the bottom of the bell doesn't hit it. Remy Tim says they still sell the drib Hype Trains in the Rotor Riot store. Man, that's impressive. I mean, that's a sign of how good they are. Unfortunately, the drib Hype Trains are a little bit too high of a KV, in my opinion, to scale all the way down for 6S. And I also have a million of these F40 Pro 2 stators. I've always kind of wondered if you could swap the bells from those Hype Train motors onto the F40 stators. It's unbelievable to me that they never made 2306 Hype Trains in 16 or 17 or 1800 kV. If they had, I would probably have switched over to them. But yeah, I don't know. DQ says, I just want to pet that cat's face off. Cute little cat. Yeah, he's a good little dude. He's the most expensive cat in the world, but clump of cat hair could kill someone like you or me. Yeah, right. Damn. Oh, nice. Have you tried, Dan? You can, but it's not a perfect fit. It's a shame. There's no reason for me not to do it. That rig right up there, that one right up there is actually on the Hype Trains. It took me 3 seconds to kick one of those off and put it on an F40 Pro 2 stator, but now that you said that, I don't even need to. I've competed in a few races with Pro 2 bell on a drib stator on one arm and 3 dribs in the other arm. It's nice. That's dope. Okay, back to work. I need to get this thing knocked out here. So I haven't even talked about what I titled the stream today. I am making a couple of my glides a little bit more cinema oriented. And so yeah, let's talk about how I'm doing that. The big thing is that I put on the dead cat arms. Look how far the nose of this guy is in comparison to this one with the regular arms. So here, right, should be pretty goddamn obvious. Just look at the where the front motors are sitting in relation to the nose, right? So this guy here is true X. I mean, you can even see it, right? It looks like a big ass X. The arms make a big X. Whereas on this guy, this is essentially a squished X, right? It's closer in this dimension. So yeah, we've swung the front arm. Oh wait, here, I can really show you. Where's that extra? Where's that broken arm? Hold on. Here we go. Here, you can really see it now. So this is a non-dead cat arm. And if I line it up on the holes, look at that difference. So that is lined up perfectly. See that? There you go. This is the true X arm. and that's the dead cat arm. So we've pulled the front motors back, and that's going to pull the front propellers back, and that's going to let us go lower on the HD camera without getting propellers in view. And so now this is a Hero 8 mount. This is a 20-degree Hero 8 mount, and I've actually got this set up for even less camera angle. And the way that I've done that is by putting little spacers on the rear of the camera mount. Let me get this goddamn Logitech into manual focus mode, since it's absolutely worthless. Alright, so now I can hopefully show you guys, give you some light here, what I've done. So the little washer on the top is just so that there's more of a contact patch with the TPU, so it doesn't rip through the TPU. And then I have another one of those washers on the bottom for the same reason. And then I've got a little tiny 3mm standoff screwed onto that screw. And by doing that, see how it just pushes the rear of the GoPro mount up a little bit. So in doing this, you lose a lot of durability. If I crash this thing hard, there's a good chance this mount will rip right off. Probably not, because of the fact that I'm using those washers, it's probably stronger than I think it is. But I'm never gonna like fly this setup hard. This is just for cinematic stuff. But yeah, that's kind of the setup, and you can see when you look at it like that, like look at that camera angle, man. That's probably like 15 degrees, maybe 10 degrees of camera angle. And if I need even less camera angle, I can move to like a 5mm standoff here. I have a little kit here that I put together with with a whole bunch of the standoffs and some longer hardware, so that I can change the angle up and down of the rear of the GoPro mount. And yeah, that's like my full cinematic kind of setup with this. I just got those arm bolts in. Let me. So here's the other thing that happens though, is that these dead cat arms are a lot shorter. So I have to have a separate set of stators with shorter, because if you use the same stators, you've got way too much motor wire, and with the LEDs on there, it's just a hot mess. So I have these Pro 2 stators coming out of my fucking ears. So yeah, I just have a separate set of these stators where the wires are chopped short, and then I have another set where the wires are longer. See the difference? So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of inconsequential. You can work your way around that without having a separate set of stators. But I've bought so many of these F40 Pro 2s, and the bells are typically what I break on these F40 Pro 2s. I've got millions of these stators coming out of every orifice. So it's literally easier to, especially with the race wires, right? It's one of the things that, like, motor changes when you have race wires are very, very simple. It's very easy to just desolder one stator, resolder the other stator. It's like 3 minutes to make that change. And yeah. So that is the full cinematization of the Glide for me. And get that arm LED VHB down there. Do the one on the other side. And I'll swap these bells over. ImpFPV says, do you have a method of measuring your camera angle exactly? I do, but I don't follow that method, Imp. The best method to do it, exactly, is to build a little mirror that's perfectly vertical. So, like, you figure out how to do that. If you go to the hardware store, they sell, like, things that are a V shape, and if you get one of those V-shaped things and you cut it flat on the top and the bottom and put that V-shaped thing down on a table, you can then stick a mirror to it, double-sided tape a mirror to it, and that little mirror will be roughly perfectly vertical for the most part. Then you can go into your OSD and you can turn the crosshair on. The crosshair is going to be perfectly in the middle of the screen. And then you can take your quad and in the OSD you also turn on the pitch angle so that it reads out what the pitch is. And your flight controller has an accelerometer on it. So you make sure that your quad is perfectly flat. You zero out, you calibrate rather the accelerometer. And then what you do is you put your goggles on. In your OSD you have your crosshair and you have your pitch number. You take that crosshair, you bounce it off of the mirror, which is perfectly vertical, and then you put that crosshair on the camera lens. So now your crosshair is dead center, it's bouncing off the vertical mirror, and it's coming back, and you're lining it up with the center of the lens. So now you've drawn a completely horizontal line with your camera, and the pitch measurement is going to be however much pitch your quad has. Right? That's not the way I do it, though, because that's a pain in the ass. The way that I do it is that I look at the angle of the back of the GoPro mount, and then I just line that up with the angle of the back of the camera. So I just hold it out in front of me like this, and I just draw a line with my mind. You know, this, I just like, I guess you could do it with like a ruler or some shit, you know, you could like, you know, but that's basically it. The back of the FPV camera is flat, so I just line that flatness up with the flatness of the back of the GoPro mount, and then it's always pretty goddamn close. And yeah, that's how I do it. That's the quick and dirty way to do it. That's how Drew does it as well. I actually learned that from Ladrib at Quad Camp Atlanta way back when. And if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. So yeah, a couple different ways for you to do it. The mirror and crosshair method I stole from CiottiFPV. If you're not subscribed to CiottiFPV, you should be. He makes excellent stuff. Excellent content. FPV Trucker says, what about the Oh My God 2306? Aren't they hype trains? I have them on 3 rigs, all 5S rigs. They are not hype trains. They are made by TBS. And every single time I read about someone talking about TBS motors on Facebook, they are saying how fragile they are. So I stay away from TBS motors. They're also heavy. The Oh My God 2306s are very heavy motors, unfortunately. DQ says, do you feel any differences in performance in freestyle flying with the dead cat arms? I do not, DQ, which is a little bit weird. It's probably because I run my pitch P gain pretty high, and when you run high pitch P gain, I mean, more pitch P gain is how you offset the negative flight characteristics of squished X and or dead cat front arms. So yeah, it's it's kind of crazy. There definitely is a difference, but it's not obvious enough that I notice it, which is kind of nuts. But yeah, if you do notice a difference, just add like 5 more points of pitch P gain as long as your tune has enough headroom, and match that up with another 5 of pitch D gain, and you'll pretty much have corrected that issue. For the record, speaking of pitch, P, and D gain, always keep in mind that Betaflight is set up for racing. I mean, keep in mind that like everything that we buy, for the most part, is catered towards racing because the racing community is much bigger and there's much more money in it. So yeah, whenever you buy something, just always have the thought of like, I fly freestyle, everything is made for racing. Do I need to change anything about this to make it work better in freestyle? Where that really matters is with pitch, P, and D gain. Stock Betaflight rates do not have enough pitch, P, or D gain to control the weight of a big fat ass GoPro, because on racing rigs they don't have big fat ass GoPros. So yeah, like always add a little bit more pitch P gain than what Betaflight defaults give you. I mean, you should notice this. Like when you go out and you do flips and rolls, you should notice that there's always, on stockish rates, there's always a little bit of bounce back on the pitch axis, even when there's none on the roll axis. Hopefully you've noticed that by now. And you just jump into the OSD and you add a little bit to pitch and you're good to go. But yeah, that situation will get worse with dead cat arms because and with squished X geometry, because you're removing mechanical torque. You know, as you move the motors in, it's less mechanical torque on the pitch axis. So yeah, keep that in mind. Definitely keep that in mind. This VHB is not sticking super well, so I'm going to throw a couple of zip ties on these arms real quick here. What's the situation with foam feet? I don't have any on the front here. Let's add some foam fetuses. What do you say? Put them out on the ends. Athix says JB is doing late night emails again. Very cool. Very cool. Athix says, I'm assuming that Umagod's new 2004s are made by TBS. I'm glad I got the Newbie Drone Flow 2004s for the 250 frame. Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't assume that. I wouldn't assume that because TBS, I don't think they make any 2004s, meaning that they're not tooled for it. And yeah, when you're not tooled up to make a certain motor, there's a tendency to just say to hell with it, let everybody else make it. So I don't know about that. I can ask him though. Let me actually do that. Now I'm curious, and he'll probably tell me, as long as I promise not to tell you guys. All right, let me do that right now, because otherwise I'll forget. What? Come on. There he is. Okay, cool. End of April, Riot 9 says. Very cool. Yeah, I've been waiting on those 3500 kV 2004s for a while. I know he got nailed. He put them in right on top of Chinese New Year, which is like, of course. Oh, right. These guys. What time is it? 12:47? Oh, man. Me and Josh were burning the late night oil. Look at us go. Look at us go. I was going to... Oh, shit. Soldering iron's still on. It's been on for a long time. I was gonna take the other rig and back down the camera angle by that same method, but I might actually just wrap it up as soon as I'm done with this one here. I want to say again. Cool. I want to watch another episode of the Formula One series that's on Netflix. If you're into motorsports at fucking all, man, do I have a treat for you. Netflix is following the Formula One teams around. They've been doing it for the last 2 years. They did it last year for sure. I think they did it the year before that. And they're making a multi-part documentary series just kind of following the drama of Formula One. And if you don't know, there is plenty of drama in F1. To the point where like your girlfriends and or wives might actually be willing to watch it with you. There are very attractive men. There are celebrities, and there's lots of drama. So give that a shot. Even if they're not willing to watch it with you, though, go fucking watch it. It's extremely well done. Netflix did a phenomenal job on it. It is great to watch. They do a really good job hitting. I used to follow Formula One pretty closely, but it's hard, man. It's here in the U.S. It's really hard to catch the races anywhere, and then it's a big see. I can't like just watch the race. I have to watch practice and then qualifying, and it becomes like a pretty big time investment. So, yeah, this documentary series does a phenomenal job at breaking it down and giving you the highlights from the season. And yeah, they just got up 2020, which, man, there was a lot of drama in 2020 between COVID and the shortened season. And, well, let me not spoil it for you if you weren't paying attention to F1 last year. But yeah, last year was quite a action-packed year in Formula One. One of the worst crashes occurred. Very, 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 very scary situation towards the end of the season. Man, gives me chills just kind of thinking about it. But very, very well done. They get into like the politics of F1, which is where a lot of the drama happens, and yeah, just really, really good stuff. Really, really good documentary making. So check it out. I think it's called. You'll find it. Just type F1 in there. You'll find it. It's maybe called Formula One: The Drive to Survive. Might not be called that, but it's the only Formula One content on Netflix, so you'll find it. Like I said, if you are even remotely into motorsports, you're gonna fucking love it. You really are. Go back to the very beginning and watch it. It's a real treat. They just do such a good job following the drivers around. The drivers are incredible characters. The team principals are incredible characters. It's a really unique sport that has a lot of really cool tech in it and kind of like right up our alley. That's still a little tight. This is the other thing that I really like about the O-ring setup, is that you don't have to play this goddamn game of how tight is too tight with the bell screws. With the O-rings between the stator and the bell, you just crank the bell screw down as tight as it goes. RC Ritter says morning streams is the F1 connection. What's that mean, RC Ritter? RC Ritter also says, thoughts on the 250? For the DJI people, it is called Drive to Survive. Okay, cool. For the DJI people, the 250 is going to be amazing. For me on analog, I mean, it's an interesting frame. I don't, yeah, there's a lot of interesting frames, though. I mean, it was very specifically designed for DJI, so it kind of makes sense that it would be really catered to that. For me, I can't wait to build it as a 4-inch, and yeah, we'll see. But for DJI people, oh god, it's so good. DQ says, is that the KV of Oh My God's new 2004s he's going to put out, 3500 KV? Yep. And for the record, you guys are welcome. I had to fucking bug the shit out of him for like 2 months to get that KV made. Dauntless says, you use O-rings, soft mount motors? No, neither. On most of the current FPV motors, they put an O-ring up above the stator bearing in between the stator and the bell to kind of soft mount the bell, and also to allow you to crank the bell screws down as tight as you can, so that you don't have to worry about them backing out. So there we go. There is a fully cinema-ized glide. I do need to hold these. Race wires down though, and I need to put these little foamies on. What am I gonna do about that? I could put the foamies here, but I'm playing around with putting the foamies out here. So let me do that. I'll do this on a bunch of rigs and see if they rip off. This is very special foam. This is list of things I never thought I would say out loud. This is very special foam. It's pretty high on that list. This is Impulse RC's foam that is just fucking magic. It is just magical, magical foam. The adhesive that they use is incredibly strong, and then the bond between the adhesive and the foam itself is also incredibly strong. And I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, this foam is insanely good. Unfortunately, you can only get it from Impulse RC in Australia land, and at the moment they don't have any of it in stock because I bought all of it because I was afraid that it was going away. When I saw that there was like only 6 or 7 in stock, I just decided to hell with it and I just bought it all. So yeah, this is all that they had in stock, and it's mine. It's all mine. Alright, so that's good to go. Now I just need to hold these little fellas down. I'm tempted to use... There we go. Yeah, I'm going to use a little bit of these wrappy-wrappies. That's the technical name for them. You know? It's the technical name, you know? Okay. Let's go on here and go through and grab and pull. Alright, 1 and 2. Okay. Yeah, that's good enough. Alright. How many little holes is that? 1 hole, 2 holes, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Snip, snip. One more on this side, and we will be all set. How did I do it on that side? I went through on the back. Okay, so like this. Oh man, that is me being a total lunatic. Pretend like I didn't do that. It makes me feel like a crazy person. Ah, come on. All right. And we are almost good to go. Come on, get in there. There we are. Okay. That's all set on there. Those race light LEDs are now held down. And good to go. Let me throw a set of props on here, and I'll show you guys how much of the propeller is really pulled out of view. Yup. Oh, nice. Athix says Stu is back after a 2-month break. Very cool. Very, very cool. Website that streams the F1 races for us here in the U.S. Ah, okay, cool. I used to be on a torrent site. There was a motorsport. I still have it. I still have a link to it. It was a motorsport only torrent site, and they would have all of the. Oh no! Actually, the one torrent site that I'm still on, called The Site, they actually put up all of the practice qualifying and full races, but I just never download them because it's just I just can't find the time. I can't just watch the race, and then the time commitment to watching the whole thing is just a bit much. So yeah, but I really like watching watching it waiting, and then watching it on the documentary series. That's really fun. It's a really interesting way to watch the previous year's season. So highly recommended. I need a couple of smoke 5143s. So let's come on in here. Grab a few of those. Man, I'm running out. I might have to see if GemFan is willing to send out another box of props. Get on there. So yeah, look at the difference in where the. So I'm gonna try to line up. I'm gonna try to line up the GoPros. All right. So if my head is here, I put this GoPro here. No, I gotta line it up by the cameras. The front end of the cameras. Yeah, there you go. Look at that difference. Look at the difference in how far forward the propellers are. Right? See that? So yeah, even with the low mount, there's going to be practically no camera in view. And on this tall mount, on this 30 degree mount here, even with the propellers all the way up here, there's no props in view. The propellers they'll sit farther forward than you'd think without becoming in view. But man, they come into view in a hurry when you start to lower the angle on the GoPro. It's kind of shocking how quickly they and how much of them becomes in view when you go down to like 20 degrees and 15 degrees and 10 degrees. It's pretty wild. All right. Number 2. Who does number 2 work for? I made a mistake. I'm not 100% sure that these stators that I put on the front are the same KV as the stators that I put on the back. which is not that big of a deal. Like the PID loop will just kind of figure that out, but I at least wanted to test it. And one of the ways that I've recently realized that I can test this, the KV of a stator is to just spin it up to 100% in the motor tab and listen. So let's do that. This is kind of sketchy because I do have this propeller cranked down, but hopefully I won't die. So we're just gonna listen. Just gonna listen. Ready? All right, so this is motor 1. This is definitely 1600 kV. Ready? And then this is motor 2. I don't know what kV this is. Good to go. 1600 kV. Hear the same pitch? Cool. All right, there you go. Kind of a weird way to check that, but a totally valid way to check that. At some point, I'll put 2 different KVs on a rig, and we can do that, and you can hear the difference. It's pretty obvious because and in the motors tab, the motors tab is not affected by the motor limiting or the PID loop in any way. Oh god, you guys can see me scratch my balls in this camera view. I will try not to do that as often. What happened to the chat? Did the chat break? Nothing is said. Nobody's said anything in the last like 10 minutes. Am I not scrolled? Oh, no, there we go. There we go. The chat's fine. Did everybody leave to go watch Joshua because his stream is more exciting than mine? How dare you? How dare you, traitors? What it really is that I don't send out a notification to everyone for these Patreon streams, so they naturally get less folks. But I feel like I have to do that. I have to give the patrons extra stuff. It's only fair. They support me. I must support them back. And not every stream has to be chaos. It is actually nice when there's less people in these streams so that I can get a little bit more work done. Alright, look at that. God, it looks so weird with the dead cat arms on it. I'm so used to the Glide not having these arms on that it's just like shocking. Cool. 15-ish degree camera angle, no props in view. Glide. What do you think about that? World. All right. So that's good to go. Yeah, let me pop the rear of this one off, and I'll show you guys how to take a 30-degree mount and make it into like a 20-ish degree mount. So we're just gonna kick both of the rear mounting screws out. And then take our little kit here that I've put together with some 5mm spacers. And now these rear screws are no longer going to be long enough because each one of those little washers is 1mm thick, and then it's a 5mm spacer. So we're adding 7mm extra, and you should not be running screws that have an extra 7mm of thread engagement. That's a bit much. So I could probably swing it with these. Let me just check the. Let me just check. to make sure. So that's going to bottom out there. Oh yeah, this is plenty. Cool. Oops. So, oh, you know what? I'm actually going to put these guys into the kit because that'll just keep them in this, keep everything in the same spot. So that's good to go. So here it is. It's a longer screw, and then it's a couple. You can run two, but I'm only going to run one of these 5mm spacers, and it's fairly straightforward. Not super exciting, if I'm honest, but really, really handy. So you take one of the little washers off so that you just have the screw with one of the washers. You put that through the rear of the TPU GoPro holder. And then you gotta kind of like pull this up because you gotta squeeze the other stuff on there. Now, take the rest of this hardware. And first, you put the other washer, the other little washer here on the bottom, so that there's a nice big contact patch on the TPU, so you don't rip through the TPU. You're gonna have to screw this in a little bit farther, or just push on it really hard, and then you take your 5mm spacer, and that's pretty much it. Put the 5mm spacer on there. This is actually a threaded 5mm because it's just a 5mm standoff, actually. They do make them non-threaded, which are arguably easier to work with, but I don't know. I haven't used these threaded ones yet. The threaded ones have this weird tendency to kind of smush the TPU, which I'm kind of on the fence about. But what's nice is I can just leave this now and I can do the other one. It's kind of with the non-threaded little standoff spacer guys, it like tries to fall off and you gotta like, it's just a little bit of a pain in the ass. Rocksteady would like the dry weight with the GoPro. The GoPro is all packed away, so I'm just going to give you the regular dry weight, and then just look up what a GoPro Hero 8 weighs, and you'll be good to go. So on this one that we just threw together, we are at 371, and on this one that we're playing with, should be a little bit heavier, longer arms. Yeah, 378, 371 and 378, and then you're gonna add 120, I want to say 124, maybe 126 grams, I forget, but if you just Google GoPro Hero 8 weight, it'll come up. All right, so again, big long screw, washer for a bigger contact patch with the TPU. You are welcome, Rocksteady. Put it through the rear mounting point in the TPU. Take your other washer, flip it upside down, get it on there, screw the big long screw down a little bit more, take your 5mm spacer, get it onto the threads of the screw. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Don't. Yes. Good, good, good. And then there you go. And now you've got the rear of your GoPro mount spaced up by 6mm, which is like roughly like 5 to 10 degrees is my guess of less up 5 to 10 degrees less of up tilt. And then you just crank these guys down, and I'll show you what it looks like once it's all together, and it'll make a lot more sense. know it's kind of hard to visualize when it's like this, and it is kind of hard to get these to thread into the standoffs, but you'll figure it out. There's a you just kind of like, because the TP, you're stretching the TPU out a little bit, and it just kind of gets a little grumpy, but you'll figure it out. I have faith in you. All right. These threaded standoffs make it a little more difficult. I don't know if I like the threaded standoff thing, if I'm honest. I think I might like the using the non-threaded 5mm standoffs better. But whatever. I already have it on here. I'm not going to undo it. I'm not going to take it off, rather. Get out of there. Come on. There we go. Alright. Actually do this. I'm going to give this a little bit of a tighten here, just to sandwich the TPU nicely. Yeah, okay. That's better. And then let me do the same on this side. You don't have to do any of this that I'm doing right now if you use the non-threaded 5mm spacer standoffs, whatever the hell they're called. Hey, there we go. All right, so that one caught the threads. This one is being a little bit of a pain in the ass. Let's see if I can get it. I mean, I know I can get it. There we go. And now we're good. There you go. You're going to crank that down. And just make sure that you don't crank this so hard that it's really squashing the TPU. You don't want to like overstress the TPU. There's no reason to do that. And there it is. So now I can show you guys and you'll actually understand what the hell I just did. So the rear is now spaced up. Logitech, I'm going to burn your entire building to the ground. See that? Isn't that cool? And again, as I said last time, this is not a super durable setup, but if you're running less camera up tilt, you're usually not going to be bashing, right? Like you shouldn't be, at least typically. But this is plenty sturdy. I've crashed these a bunch. The key is that you're sandwiching the TPU between the little spacer guys, so you're getting like a nice big contact patch on the TPU, and that seems to yeah, just really work well. So there we go. A very slow speed and a medium speed glide cinema-ish setup. And that, my friends, I believe is where we're going to end your daily Patreon live stream. But let me just put a couple things away here. And what else can I put away? I'm going to leave that out. I'm going to pack this. That's good. I do want to leave this out. I want to leave these out as well. Why is this out? Get out of here. Go away now. That can go there. This can go in here. These antennas can go away. I don't know why the hell I was leaving these out. Look at me go. A little bit of organization at the end of the build session. That's a new one. I like this. Turn over a new leaf. Okay, cool. All right. Nice little build session. Can't really complain. It's back up here. Look at that. We did a thing. You guys came along with me for the ride. How was it? Was it great? Ruby Tim says, props in view with that setup? Yes. Yeah, a little bit more. But black props, and they're semi-see-through. So, I'd rather have a little bit more prop in view, but a better chance of the shot being centered, you know what I'm saying? I'm constantly shocked at how hard it is to notice the black, the Gemfan black see-through propellers in view. It's really very, because they're always in view on the regular glide. So yeah, but that's why I only spaced it down a little bit. So there's that. Wow, 2 hours and 20 minutes. Look at us go. Any last minute questions? Athix is rebuilding a baby tooth, and Cam working on an OG Chameleon. Sue's back after 2 months. Thinking of saving all the wiring diagrams on a folder on my phone. That's a really good idea. It's a really, really good idea. I have a folder on my desktop where I used to save wiring diagrams. All right, cool. What's tomorrow's Friday? So we'll do. Ooh, yes. Athix says, have you used Agent X? I don't even know what Agent X is, Athix. What is that? Tomorrow, for 5-inch Friday, we are going to take the Moon Goat guts and put it into the Prototype 5. And maybe even also put Shark Bite on the Prototype 5. No promises. I might do it analog just for now out of sheer laziness, but also to give a good head-to-head comparison of the Moon Goat versus the Prototype 5. But eventually that Prototype 5 is going to get Shark Bite. You know what I noticed? When Patrick was over tonight, I was... he noticed the Shark Bite sitting here, and he's like, how is it? And I said, I'll let you know when I finally build it. I showed him the Shark Bite VTX. Right, Ryan 9. Yeah, I have used Agent X once. Not selling, but the Moon Goat frame will probably be a giveaway. So I showed him this, the high power 20x20 Shark Bite VTX, and I said, I'm only going to give you one guess as to the problem with it. And I walked out of the room to grab something in the kitchen, and he goes, "Oh, son of a bitch! It's pinned. It's pinned top board to second board." And I said, I didn't even notice that. I haven't really looked at this more than like once or twice. I said, but yeah, that's the problem. The problem is that all the racers are breaking these. I think all the racers have bailed on Shark Bite because this just blows up. And yeah, it's probably because the top board is pinned to the bottom board. So that's another reason why I haven't done the Shark Bite build, because apparently on my first crash, this is going to just explode. Which kind of, like, that kind of makes me want to put this into the Cinesplorer so that this will last a little bit longer, but I'm not. I'm going to put it into the Prototype 5, and I'm going to crash the fucking thing, and I'm going to see if this breaks. Because here's the thing, right? Like, yes, this is not too big of a deal to take on and put off the goggles, but you also have to have, like, you gotta have this thing on there, and then you also have to have this thing on there, right? So like it's kind of a pain in the ass, right? I can't really afford to buy a whole bunch of these $150 camera and VTX things, and they're very obviously going to make a V2 of this, right? So my current approach is break this goddamn thing so I can give you guys feedback and just hang on to this. And when they come out with a V2 that's more durable and hopefully cheaper, then switching over to Sharkbite is a little bit more realistic of an option. Does that make sense? It just, yeah, I don't see a world where, I mean, if this is going to be fragile, I don't even want it in the Cinesplorer. Like, I don't want fragile stuff in anything because I crash everything. So I would kind of rather blow this up and then give that feedback to you guys. Hey, it blew up. As I say it, though, I feel like there hasn't been a lot of crossbite, sharkbite feedback that it's fragile. You know what I mean? But now I'm second guessing it. Like, because just looking at it, like, we know that it's fragile, right? But do we? I don't know. I mean, it's pinned. The two boards are pinned together. It's going to be fragile. It's going to be fragile, for sure. I don't know. Should I put it in the Cinesplorer? I was thinking about putting it on the soft mount jubbly bastards. BeepTube says, if you soft mount the double sack Sharkbite VTX on M2 rubber bombs, that's what I was just saying. It's not as fragile as it seems. Mine survived some crashes, but I don't bash really hard. Random FE says, is the friend that crashes and CiottiFPV is the friend that crashes and breaks everything, but this is a damn good fella. Athix says, can you de-pin it? Not really. It's a 6-pin, and my god, are they close together. I ain't doing that. No way. I mean, technically you could, but oof, that would be rough. That would be really rough. Those are very, very, very small pads. Brandon Bentley says, you should send it. Johnny5 said one or more of his buddies broke theirs. You should use it or lose it. Boost and JDM says, what's between the boards? Can you put a hard standoff on there and really lock it down to the frame? Yeah, I mean, so they have nylon standoffs on all four corners. The problem is they're 6mm nylon standoffs. So I don't know. None of you guys are gonna buy this, right? BeepTube says that pin arrangement is actually an MMCX, I'm pretty sure, the brass part. Oh yeah, I didn't even look at the... Oh yeah, look at that. That's interesting, up in the front. I was just looking at the actual 20x20 standoffs. What value have you set for dynamic notch width percent? It depends, Riot9. The safe number is 7. The more aggressive number is 0. So you guys tell me, do you guys want me to put this in the prototype in the prototype 5 and see how long before it blows up, or I put this in the Cinesplorer and it potentially never blows up because I'm never going to crash that rig really hard? Does that make sense? Boostin' JDM says nope, waiting to see what Orca comes up with. Safe word is pineapple juice, says Random. You guys know what I'm asking, right? I'm also really not looking forward to like this updating procedure or like it would be I mean there's one vote for Cinesplore and there's one vote for Prototype. It would, I mean, I have this, like, it would be cool to have a rig for more than, like, one day that has shark bite. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't think it's gonna, I don't think this is gonna last a single session in the Prototype 5. It's just, yeah, that's just my intuition. I have pretty good intuition about crashes. I think I'm gonna put this in a Cinesplore. I think I'm gonna pull the one Cinesplore apart and put this in there. Because it might last forever in there. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put it in the Cinesplore. Because it just doesn't make any sense to blow it up. Like, it's fragile. It's fragile. You know, like it's the intelligent thing to do, bars, is to put it in the Cinesplore and just not to break it for the sake of breaking it. Like as much as I try to be like a source of torture testing for you guys, like I don't need to, because it's a pinned stack and it's gonna blow up. Like, there you go. It blew up. I put it in the Prototype 5 and it blew up immediately because it was a pinned stack. Beep Tube has had it in his glide for a while, but he admitted up above that he doesn't crash. You good? He admitted up above that that he doesn't crash really hard. Racers crash pretty hard, not as hard as us, and I think all the racers have moved away from it. So, yeah. I'm gonna pull the moon goat apart. Oh, here's the other thing though. I don't need the extended cable for the Cinesplore, which really pisses me off because I do have the extended cable. Here's what sucks though. FPV Cycle Prototype 5 Shark Bite is really good clickbait. You know what I mean? Fuck. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it, and maybe I'll know the answer by tomorrow. This is the end of your daily Patreon-only stream. If you'd like to get email notifications and Discord notifications for these daily live streams, you got to join my Patreon. You got to give me $3 a month or more. And you can do that by going to CiottiFPV.com, and it's the very top button. Over there on CiottiFPV.com, there's a million other ways you can support me. I have an Etsy store with a bunch of really cool stickers, Teespring store with some cool shirts and mugs and sweatshirts, a bunch of affiliate links, lots of cool ways. CiottiFPV.com. Help me do this forever. If everybody kicks in a couple bucks or a couple clicks or a couple whatever's here and there, I'll be able to do that. I'm really close to being like totally good to go, but we're not quite there yet. We're very close though. Thanks for hanging out. You guys are awesome. Here's some flying with some epidemic soundage. What's happening up here? Dark and restless beats. Oh. Oh! Oh, I'm restless already. Computer just shit the bed. Come on, computer. Come on, computer. Oh god, I was supposed to do this this edit for Fiverr. I'm gonna do that tomorrow during the day. Tomorrow during the day, there's gonna be a Fiverr Life stream. You'll see. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Here's some random flying from a random day in 2020. Hopefully it's good. See you tomorrow!